Whoa. Let's reel in the new year. Hi guys, welcome back to the Don't Disown Cooking Show. I hope you had a lovely holiday season and a fantastic start to the new year. I want to start things off for you guys in the kitchen right by cooking one of my favorite dishes, Chilean sea bass. Chilean sea bass is one of those dishes that is so good. It's a little expensive, obviously, so treat yourself, treat your family, treat your friends, however you want to see it. You can kind of replace what I'm about to teach you with like cod, tilapia, things like that, but this cut is fantastic. The reason this is one of my favorite dishes is because everything you need to make it is minimal. Let me show you. I want to go ahead and get started by telling you one very important thing. The important thing is this. Leave your fish out for about 30 minutes so it can kind of come up to room temp when you cook it. This is going to allow the fish to cook thoroughly through before we start doing everything. But first thing on the agenda is we got to cut and cube our zucchini and squash. So let's clear the table and do that. Great. So first thing I'm going to do is cut off the head here, cut off the base, and then it's going to give us a nice flatter surface. Split this in half so we can cube it. There we go. Now we split. Woo! Gotta put some elbow grease into this one. Super easy. So, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut out all the seeds. As you can see, we have these cut in half. Actually, while I'm here thinking about it, I'm gonna grab a baking sheet because I could just put everything on that and it's gonna be easier in the end. So you can see we have all those on there. Then we're gonna add in the zucchini. Same thing, chop off top, bottom, cut in half, cube. So you guys can see this masterpiece. What we're gonna do is just take some avocado oil, sprinkle it over like that, then grab our lemon pepper seasoning and just lightly sprinkle right over that. So one step I forgot to mention is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. I have mine going right now because these are gonna go in for about 15 to 20 minutes. You're looking for them to be a little bit softer because you don't want that hard texture. So I'm gonna go ahead and move these in. Okay, now that the veggies are in the oven, we're gonna start working on the fish. And the first thing we're gonna do is cut up one of our lemons here because that's gonna go on top of the fish after we season it, then we cook. Got our cutting board here, grab a lemon. If you don't know already, you wanna roll out any of your citrus before you cut it, get it all loose, softer, easier to cut, and extract more oils. With our knife, and you're looking for like semi-thin, semi-thick slices. Really depends on how much fish you have because you're gonna wanna be able to put some on all of it. All right, so we have our lemon sliced, so now let's move these off and get our fish on. With our fish on, now the first thing we wanna do is pat it dry. Flip it over, pat it dry. Now with our fish pat and dry, we're gonna lightly sprinkle Don't Disown fish seasoning on both sides, not to make sure we miss flavor anywhere. And then we're gonna cut this into the portions that they will cook as. All right, so I got my seasoning right here. The best part about the Don't Disown fish seasoning is how citrusy it is. I know we're adding lemon to this, but that's just for that little extra zest. But on its own, this seasoning particularly holds this like really bright, flavorful, zesty combination of seasonings that gives you like some herbaceousness as well. So lightly sprinkling this side, flipping over, lightly sprinkle the other side. And this is the skin side, so you might have to pat this in a little bit so it sticks. All right, so we flipped it over. Now we're gonna go ahead and cut it into our portion sizes. Now the fish is obviously getting thinner as we go along, so we're gonna watch them. The thinner pieces are gonna cook for less time, but will be equally as delicious. There you go. These are our portions. You can see these slices are really thin, and that's because these are longer and thicker. So as I'm going down the fish, as it's getting thinner, the pieces are getting wider. That's to compensate so everyone gets a fair portion. And if you want to add a little bit of extra herb, you could add some of this dried cilantro or parsley if you want. Just a little pinchy, just to add another layer of flavor. One last thing to note before we actually start cooking this fish off is because the veggies take about 15 to 20 minutes, you're gonna wanna start them earlier than this process. That way everything finishes around the same time. These are gonna take about 10 minutes to cook total. So if you can, plan it out accordingly. Now let's go over here to the stovetop. All right, so since we're not oven baking it, which is what you would normally do with lemon on top, these are just gonna sit, and what we're gonna let the heat do is just pool all the juice into it as we're cooking. That's gonna be prime time stuff. And to get the pan ready, we're gonna use a knob of butter. Okay, so we have our knob of butter here. Place it into our pan at a medium heat. So we're gonna let that melt a little bit before we actually lay in the Chilean sea bass. I also always find it's very helpful to go skin side down first to make sure it gets nice and crispy. Then we flip it over to finish the cook. All right, guys, so our butter is melted. And go ahead and take the first piece of Chilean sea bass. Second piece goes in, lemon. Okay, so we're gonna let those cook, do their thing. In about 4 to 5 minutes, flip. Okay, we've hit our 5-minute mark on this side. Let's go take the lemmies off and flip the script. Yeah, look at that. That's what you want. See how crispy that skin is? Move these lemmies back on just for a little bit of extra juice. Another 4 minutes. The veggies are done. Hear the song? Let me grab those. The veggies are looking hot to trot. So it's officially time to pull these off. Grab the lemons. Kill the heat. Tiny tongs. Wow. Look at these pieces of Chilean sea bass. Like, this is perfect. Perfect Chilean sea bass. Okay, I'm gonna bring this over to the table along with veggies. Okay, so as you guys can see here, Chilean sea bass is done. Crispy golden finish on the top. Squash cooked to perfection, not too soft. Little bite left in it still. We have white rice here, just in case you want a little like something else to add to your plate. Fresh lemons to squeeze on top. Dried cilantro if you want to top it any more. This looks incredible. Only thing to do, let's try it. Okay, let me explain why I love Chilean sea bass. When cooked right, it's steaky, but still has like a fish texture, but the flavor cooked with butter and the Don't Sazón seasoning. So good! The crispiness definitely added a layer to it. The dried cilantro is really nice. It is perfect, flaky, just the way a fish should be cooked. Let's go ahead and try the veggies. Really nice touch of Don't Sazón, lemon, pepper. Just gives everything a little zest. It makes the whole dish feel like it belongs together. And that's what makes something really great, is every part of the meal is fantastic. Obviously, the Chilean sea bass is probably my favorite part. So if you're in the mood to make fish, go to your local grocery store, buy Chilean sea bass or any other white fish, and make sure you visit www.don'tsazon.com, where we have a multitude of products and recipes for whatever tickles your taste buds. And not to mention, you can save an additional 10% by applying the code SHOW at checkout. Lastly, guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video. And if you haven't seen any of our previous videos, click right up there so you can see how we utilize all of our other products. And that's the last I'm gonna say about it, you guys. Make this meal, impress anyone you cook it for. It's so easy, so delicious, and that's what we wanna do here at Don't Sazón. We wanna show you guys that cooking is easy, fun, and simple. So I'm your host, Victor, and remember, a house isn't a home without Don't Sazón. I'll see you guys next time.